hit it. Welcome to a beautiful fall day in H-Town, and I hope it's beautiful down, in South Florida. You are listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. I'm Spitface, and I'm here with the always classy and sometimes sassy host of this show, the First Lady of Sports Talk, the one and only Cheryl Smith. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning. How's everybody doing there? It is beautiful here today.
Oh, okay. First Lady. First Lady and I grew up in the North. Okay. So, when the temperature drops to 65, we do not break out the leather coats. We just gotta look and go, wait a minute, it's 65 outside. That's a nice crisp fall morning, 65. And I'm seeing folks at H-Town, because the temperature got down to 65 yesterday, First Lady. You would have thought that we was in Chicago, in February. I'm like, come on now,
Anyway, I don't know, Spitface, because I've been here in sunny Florida for a long time, over 20-something years now. So my blood is thin. I think I might be like the people in H-Town. I can't say that anymore, even though I am from the North.
Hey, memory muscle, memory veins. They know it. They remember.
All right.
All right, check out the music this week. A shout-out. We're featuring performances from StudioWorks plus Sheva, Elliot. Will they find their shining star or get the cold feel of the mute button? First Lady, we're ready. What you say?
Each week we try to figure out what is going on in the sports world, not the plays of the week, more like the players of the week. Are they trying to tell us something, so we ask, what you saying? Fly, little birdie, fly. Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. I want to fly right into the future. The little birdie's known as the NFL wishes it could fly far away from John Gruden and the Washington team controversy. Information and emails are being leaked faster than Donald Trump White House. Women who took the brunt of sexes are demanding the NFL release all the detail of its investigation. The NFL is saying, no way, Jose. Washington was fined $10 million by the league for its behavior, but that's a drop in the bucket for a multi-billionaire owner. Can the old boys club ever be broken up? Marvelous Marvin Hagler, rest in peace, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., and the Steve Miller Band are asking, what you saying? Well, people were not really calling for John Gruden to be fired when he insulted DeMarcy Smith. But after those other emails were released, it was no way Gruden could survive. I mean, Spitface, what group he didn't make disparaging remarks about? I mean, Gruden offended African Americans. He offended the LGBTQ community and women. I mean, his racist, homophobic, and misogynistic remarks were outrageous and horrible. The question, can the old boys club ever be broken up? As Spitface, I'm going to say yes. If the owners within the network allow it to happen. That's the key. Because if you remember, the NBA and their commissioner, Adam Silver, did not withstand the racist remarks from Donald Sterling, and the other owners forced him to sell the team. The NBA realized that they had a predominantly black league, and this racism was not going to be tolerated. You know, the NFL clearly has a problem with racism and sexism, and the Washington football team allowed their sexism culture to exist to the point where they're being sued by the former cheerleaders, and then that investigation is going on. That's the reason why Gruden emails were released. But they know they got a problem, And the Washington football team is a real big issue with them because the culture has been allowed for so many years. And the thing is, Spitface, we also can't forget that the former Houston Texans owner, Bob McNair, I think he passed away, right, Spitface?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he passed away. You remember what he said? We can't have the inmates running the prison during a meeting with other NFL owners about players who protest, but, they were protesting the kneeling during the national anthem. So these NFL owners are used to sharing these racist remarks with each other and probably the sexism remarks. We don't have anything on record about things being said as sexism, but we can imagine what they're saying because they are the old boys network. Now, Roger Goodell and the NFL owners seriously need to review their policies in allowing diversity for ownership. There's only 2 minority owners. Shad Khan, he's a Pakistani American. He owns the Jacksonville Jaguar. And Kim Pagula, I might be pronouncing her name wrong, Pagula, she's Asian American, and I believe she is co-owner of the Buffalo Bills along with her husband. So the NFL actually has never had a black owner, but, they do have those other 2 minorities. And the fact that they have a woman co-owner, you would think that they wouldn't have these sexism culture going in on certain teams. But we're talking about the Washington team because, I don't think they have any women in their front office. Like, a lot of the teams are starting to put women in positions. I wouldn't say that they have them, but during the investigation when they released the information with John Gruden, you remember they had some pornography. Wasn't some of the cheerleaders top half were removed and they were watching it? Or it was in one of the emails. So it's ridiculous when you think about the Washington team. Daniel Snyder should be forced to sell the team. The $10 million fine is nothing. He should be forced to sell the team, just like what the NBA did. They need to be more inclusive to break down this old boys club. And I think it will happen eventually. I really do. Everybody talking about, complaining about Jay-Z going on to he's partnering with the NFL to do the Super Bowl entertainment, and people really got on him for doing that because of with all the Colin Kaepernick thing. But don't you think he's trying to get his foot into the door? You can see somebody like Jay-Z putting a group together to eventually own a team. I think that's why he has to come to. You got to come to the seat. You got to be at the seat when it comes to these leagues because remember the NFL, the other owners have to allow you to be an owner. That's how it happens. So with him being involved with the NFL, it's a possibility. I look for JC for him to put a group eventually together to own a NFL team, and once that happens. If you get more women owners, even though you still have a women owner, it's just amazing that they're talking all that nonsense about, sexism and everything, even they have a woman owner. But remember, she's an Asian woman. She's not a white woman, so I believe that makes a big difference. So I just think it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen right away. That's just what's going to happen. But they definitely need to tear down the old boys club mentality within the NFL. Spitface, your opinions.
The old boys club. First lady, I've never been a part of an old boys club. Matter of fact, I wasn't even part of the boys club. I was a Boy Scout. And then I went to the Urban League and the YMCA, but I was in the boys club. But First Lady, one of the things is that when you look at the situation with John Gruden, said that he didn't have a racist bone in his body, but that cartilage is awfully racist. Awfully. But it really, as you said, it speaks to the mentality of I'll say the white folk with power in the NFL. And, I can't lay that on every NFL person who's an executive, owner, whatever, because they're all. But it really does, to me it speaks beyond just football. Right now, you have the workers in film, movies, all that stuff in Hollywood. And they said, you know what, we tired of this. And they went on, they said, we can ready to go on strike. And then you got the nurses union saying, you know what, y'all done, berated us, done this, done that. And they get paid pretty good, but they said, look, if we got to work 14 hours straight, I think we need to get a couple of breaks in. And on and on. And workers, whether you're a professional football player or you're a nurse or somebody working in a factory, it's starting to be apparent that, look, you owners, and some of y'all ain't in the old boys club, just treat workers terrible. These owners of businesses have gotten, they're making so much money that they're just out of whack with the ordinary person. And I know you can't say the NFL players, making millions and millions and millions of dollars is an ordinary person. But, in their profession, they're just like any other worker, whether they got a contract or not. We can cut you. We can treat you this kind of way. And then the officers reflect that. But I thought about it and I said, a $10 million fine, that's a lot of money. But when you're a billionaire, $10 million is what, 1%? I think that's 1% of a billion is 10 million, So, you still got, 99% of your billion. That is not a penalty. And as First Lady said, a penalty is, and Dan Snyder needed to be, that they needed to kick him out the old boys club just because they had a terrible team for so long with all the mismanagement. It's like, wait, dude, look, we could just add race, we can add sexism and all that stuff as a cherry on top. But man, you did, your team, Redskins been sorry since you bought the team. It's been time to kick you out. But, as you said, the NFL is like a fraternity. They pick and choose who they want to own teams, who they want to welcome in. And, it's sort of like you look at Bob McNair, and I'm going to say Jerry Jones, too. And, and I'm going to say that the owner up in the Patriots owner, and you go, these are rich guys, super rich guys, and they hug their players, they do all of that, but I feel like this, they don't want them to marry their daughter, So, First Lady, it's kind of hard to see the old. Now, ever is a long time. But it's hard to see in like I say, in the next 10 years, at least for me, in the next 10 years, that there'll be, someone, an African American, or I'll just say a non-white group of owners. And when I say group, I mean more than one, because Khan is one. And they kind of look at him as, hey, look, well, you ain't black, so, hey, we'll let you in, But, when you have a couple of teams that are owned by predominantly people of color, then there's going to be some progress made. But right now, on the horizon, it looks kind of, and by the way, there are 2 women owners. in the NFL. There are two. The owner of the Chicago Bears. Now, some of us might say that she can go ahead and give up that team. Get somebody in with some more money because the Hallis family. But she is the owner. She the one. She up there. She I put it like this. She on that other side, heading close, but she is an owner. And but First Lady, I like you said, Jay-Z knows that if you're not at the table, you can't do anything. You're just shouting outside the door. At least if you're at the table, you're in the conversation. And when you got some weight, it'll go that way. But I will say this, that there's some people of color who are entering the billionaire ranks. And there's a point where there'll be enough where it'll be undeniable that they can't get in. So, and the NFL needs to prepare. I'll just say that. So, Old Boys Club, your day is coming, and we're watching you. That's all I'm saying, First Lady.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about the Chicago Bear owner, Virginia Hallis McCaskey. She's the daughter of George Hallis, and you're right, she is the team principal owner, but she's 98 years old, so I don't know how much she really owns.
I said she ain't got too much time.
I will be honest with you, Spitface, at 98 years old, do I think she really owning the team? I don't think so. I think probably one of her sons or somebody's owning the team. But anyway, God, that's you right. So we do have two female owners, and so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this network of Old Boys Club needs to be changed as soon as it can. And like I said, I don't think it's going to happen right away. But I do see Spitface, like I say, in the next 10 years, I definitely see it changing. And it may be sooner than later, especially with all of this nonsense that was going on. You may be surprised. Maybe Goodell would put his foot down and says to the owners, we got to let somebody in to own the team, especially if they get rid of Dan Snyder as the Washington team owner. But who knows? All right, Spitface, over to you.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, rocking my peers and putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Explosion, overpowering, over the competition I'm powering. Record shop when I drop these lyrics that'll make you call the cops. Don't you dare stare, you better move. Don't ever compare me to the rest that'll all get sliced and diced. Competition paying the price. I'm gonna knock you out, huh? Mama said knock you out, huh? We are talking about the potential knockout punch to the Chiefs' hopes of a three-peat to the Super Bowl by losing to the Bills. The Chiefs are at the bottom of the AFC West. Oh, my. Have defenses figured out how to contain Patrick Mahomes? Has Andy Reid's offense gone stale or become predictable? Is there a running game? Can anyone play defense? Leroy Satchel Paige, Walter Buck Leonard, and James Cool Papa Bell are asking, what you saying? First Lady, I would have lost. I would have lost money betting that because I would not have bet that the Chiefs would have, the Chiefs would be at the bottom of the AFC West, and really, it is looking like if it's not so much that they learned how to contain Patrick Mahomes, they've just learned how to play defense against Andy Reid's offense, and I think that. A lot of things Patrick Mahomes does, he improvises a little, but I don't think he doesn't improvise like my man, Mr. Wilson up there in Seattle, but, he pretty much improvises when things break down but now the way that things are breaking down, I think the defenses have said, Andy, you know what, we know that Patrick Mahomes is going to have to do all of this, because you're not coming up with an offense that's, we done seen this game before. And where did the running game go? They did have a couple of running backs, and one of Andy Reid's faults was that he's always been throw the ball. He's been a vertical man, and don't worry about the defense. That's how he was in Philadelphia, and he was able to get away with it with the Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes. But now all of that is catching up to him, and unless they do something where they can get the running game going, I think I could see the Chiefs ending up with a losing record. Now, I don't mean like they're gonna go 3-14, but I could see them being on, being 8-9. They could actually go and miss the playoffs. So I don't know what Andy Reid is gonna do, but they're gonna have to figure out how to get a running game in so that they stop being predictable. And Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to make Houdini plays, to compensate. And they need to call Miss Cleo and see if they can get the spirit of the defense back, because they need it bad. First Lady, what you saying?
Well, let me just put it this way. The biggest surprise is the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, no one expected them to be at the bottom of the AFC West with a 2-3 record. And it seems that one of their old problems, again, continues to be a problem. The Chiefs cannot stop a nosebleed, as Stephen A. Smith always says. And unfortunately, it appears that Patrick Mahomes just cannot make up for the lackluster play on defense. Andy Reid's offense, Spitface, is not stale or predictable. They still can score points, but when your defense can't play well, it becomes difficult for Mahomes to make up these points. I mean, to say that the league has figured out Mahomes, I don't think so. It's just that Mahomes has been careless. I mean, really careless with his passing this year. Mahomes already has 6 interceptions for the year, and that's more than he had last year. So really, what's wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs? Well, defense is definitely the problem. They don't have any defense. The Chiefs continue to allow more than 25 points for 5 consecutive weeks. They haven't done this since 2008. The lowest score they had was 26, I believe. 26, and they had 29. Everything else has been 36-30. So they just can't score. Can't stop people from scoring. And the other major problem also is the turnovers. That's another major problem. They just got too many of them. The Chiefs already have 11 turnovers this season, and that leads the league in that category. They're leading the league in turnovers. And the other thing I see a problem, you're talking about is Andy Reid's offense stale. I don't think the offense is stale or anything. I just think what happened is the problem with Andy Reid's offense is that they're not patient enough, and they're always relying on that big passing play. They need to routinely incorporate their running game, not the running game to get big plays, but the running game to move the offense along. That game management type of offense, Spitface, where they need to use more clock. Because as long as they use more clock, what that means, their damn defense is not on the field. That's what it is. That's the problem. They're not using the clock. They're always passing in the big game play, but that's just Andy Reid's offense, but he needs to change a little bit. Now, it's going to be tough for them to run their offense, to do the run game because, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he was injured, and he's going to be out, 3 to 4 weeks. So the next man up is going to have to provide significant running yards. But I still believe the Chiefs will figure it out. I mean, they're going to figure it out eventually. I don't know who's in charge of their offense, their defense. Is that Ken Norton Jr.? I think. Yeah, I think Ken Norton Jr. is their defensive coordinator. They may need to get another defensive coordinator.
I thought you were gonna say they may need him to suit up.
I believe he is their defensive coordinator, but that's where the problem is. I mean, that it lies. Their main problem is their defense, and they just have to. They have to do a better job. I mean, it's. Oh no, it's not. I'm sorry. Ken Norton Jr. is with Seattle. I don't know why I thought. I'm sorry. It's Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo is the Chiefs' defensive coordinator. Yeah, Ken Norton Jr. is with Seattle. So I don't know what to say, Spitface. It's just that it's not good, but I still think there's hope for the Chiefs.
It's interesting, but there's that old thing about the Super Bowl loser usually has a poor season the next year.
Mm.
Yeah, and I had to have the production assistants look that up, but it's like when Atlanta got beat down by the Patriots, they ain't been the same.
Oh no, they never recovered.
Yeah, when Seattle lost to the Patriots, it's not a Patriots thing. They, the Legion, all of that, there was whatever, but then they started to go down, and it's like the Super Bowl loser, tends to get discombobulated. The Rams might be. Well, the Rams, I think what happened with the Rams was the coach realized and the management realized that if we don't want to go the fate of other Super Bowl losers where we're in the wilderness for a few years, they made a good move. Let's get a new quarterback. We're going to have to make some changes here. So, but yeah, First Lady, if any team could turn it around and make make a run and get back, it's got to be the Kansas City Chiefs, but we shall see. First Lady, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, we have a performance from StudioWorks on Shout Out Part 1.
KC Masterpiece. Welcome back. The music flows in from around the globe to get a shout out from the panel. First Lady, I can't wait to hear the music from StudioWorks.
On Shout Out, we feature new independent artists who are looking to find their shining star. If you like what we hear, we'll give the track a shout out. If we don't like it, we hit the mute. Today we are featuring the music from StudioWorks out of Lenexa, Kansas. They say, we sound like Fleetwood Mac. That's a big band to sound like. This is a micro album of songs that roll out relationships as a game that is played. All right, DJ, let's really hear if they sound like Fleetwood Mac. And let's hear, this is what it's like being with you.
Is it the way I look? The way I thrill. Has my lipstick smeared? Is my perfume stale? Smells pretty good to me. It must be something else. With you, my Casanova, one can never tell. You see, this is what it's like to drive a brand new car. And this is what it's like to see a falling star. And this is what it's like to be with you. You're like a dead gangster that don't make a sound. All I want is a shot at life and a chance at love, an equal share in your happiness. She just wants to be happy. I want wings that will take us all the way up and to soar with you over the canyons above. is what it's like to be in Paris, dear. Ooh la la. And this is what it's like to guzzle ice cold beer. Remember? This is what it's like to be with you.
Like a tree that falls in the woods, it don't make a sound.
This is what it's like to be a crazy fool. Or jump off a trampoline into the swimming pool. And this is what it's like to be with you. Need I say more? Ooh. So it was at the costume party when he made his first pass. This mysterious man in his costume and mask. Ooh, I forgot what it was like to be pursued. To snuggle at night under the light of the moon. Finally, someone who's traveled the earth. Tell me what it's like, but could you kiss me first? Who are you? I just have to see who's the stranger in a mask making a pass at me.
Now you're getting fresh.
Oh, you're driving me crazy, honey. You're simply driving me nuts. Stay home in bed all day and never get up. You don't turn your head when I come into the room. You don't seem to light up, not like you used to.
What the heck is going on with you?
Oh, he wrote me a poem. How sweet, my dear. It says, don't leave your husband, 'cause your husband is me.
What?
That mysterious man you were enchanted to see at the costume party. It was me. It was you. I switched on out, back and forth I went between his costume and mine, like Lois Lane and Clark Kent. There you go, see? That's what it's like doing a crazy thing. To shout at the moon and find your lost diamond ring. It's all crazy good. Life can be such a hoot. Run past the police in your birthday suit.
You better run fast.
This is what it's like when you are so sweet. Holding on to our marriage, it's like you're tickling me. Try to leave it all behind, baby, and just hold me. Put a bullet hole in all that misery. Have an ice cold beer and come sit next to me. I see you're still in love with me, and I'm in love with you too, Casanova. I'm in love with you too.
Okay, well, that was pleasantly a surprise. Now, I'm going to tell you this, Spitface. From what I remember what Fleetwood Mac sounded like, I don't think they sound like Fleetwood Mac. I don't remember Fleetwood Mac being kind of that reminds me of like a Broadway song, comedy type of Broadway song, I don't know. But I'm going to shout it out. I enjoyed it. I thought the young lady's voice was very good, and it was a little bit different. I wasn't expecting that type of song, but hey, it was great. I'm shouting out. Are you shouting out, or are you hitting the mute button?
I'm shouting it out. I have to agree with you that I don't know about that Fleetwood Mac sound. That maybe they should have submitted some other tracks so that we could tell. Right. But hey, but I'm shouting that track out. And it's interesting because you were going like it reminded you of like a Broadway song, and I was thinking movie soundtrack. But I think you're more. It's more in line with what you say. It kind of reminds me of something I would expect in a Broadway musical.
Yeah, exactly.
Good song. We shouting it out.
Yep, we shouting it out. All right, if you like what you heard from StudioWorks, check them out on Old Grumpy Radio Network. On part 2 of Shout Out, we'll have a performance from Sheva. Is that Sheva? Elliot. I might be pronouncing it wrong. Sheva Elliot. All right. I know I don't pronounce this person's name wrong. Is that the sound our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It.
All right. It is time for Flip It. And First Lady, Flipper was getting ready to go on strike. Flipper was getting ready to go on strike. Now Flipper was going on strike because he wanted, Flipper's deal was he wanted a new governor for Florida. And I said, Flipper, you don't go on strike for new governors. He said, yeah, we should. All right. Time for Flip It, where host defender pointed in, flip the script, and defend the opposing view. The Chiefs and Patriots both have losing records. Which team has a better chance of turning things around and making the playoffs? Defend. KC Masterpiece is starting to look like ketchup. The Patriots have the better chance. First Lady, I don't know what is going on up in Kansas City, other than who they gonna bring in? Like they say, Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call to bring in a defense? Who you gonna call? They might have to get an outreach program, for defensive players, because right now, Kansas City reminds me of. Right now, the old San Diego Chargers with Dan Fouts and Ed Coryell. Dan Fouts, that team, they would score 45 points and lose 45-46. Because the defense gave up. And like the thing with the Chargers was that, and Ed Coryell in that game was that. They scored so quick, the other teams could always catch up. And eventually, it would come down to who got the ball last. And if the other team had the ball last, it was going to be a field goal or something, and they'd end up losing. And it's like KC is in that same spot where they go put up tons of points, but the other teams have gotten better, and they put up a bunch of points, and it's who got the ball last. Now, the Patriots have a better chance simply because who in their division, other than Buffalo, is really some competition. Miami ain't doing nothing. We know the Jets ain't doing nothing. We can say that. And the Patriots, even though they have a rookie quarterback, their defense is playing better. They ain't getting blown out, and again, they got them games in the East that's going to help their record. While KC has to look at, they got a tough road, and even though there's some breakdowns now with the Raiders, them wacky Raiders. The Chargers looking, Denver starting to play better, with Teddy. The KC just has a harder road to turn things around. So the Patriots, just have a easier way to go. First Lady, defend.
Well, I mean, when you look at things, Spitface, I just think we're not used to the Kansas City Chiefs being the way they are now. So, they're clearly slipping out of the NFL playoffs. I mean, and the Chiefs' problem really is their defense. That's the number one reason why they look like KC Masterpiece is starting to look like ketchup, because of that defense. There's no question about it. And the thing about the Chiefs, they got pressure. They have tremendous pressure to make the playoff, whereas the Patriots, there's no pressure on them to make the playoff. You know, a lot of people didn't expect them to be doing good this year anyway because of the fact that they have a rookie quarterback. But everyone expected the Chiefs to be in the playoff and to be back to the Super Bowl. So, you know, teams are, you know, they got pressure. And when Team C sees that the KC Chiefs are not playing well, guess what? They're going to continue to gun for them. They're going to try to kick them when they're down, and that's what they're doing every week lately. These teams are really, really just going at the Chiefs, and they know that they're not they're beatable now. And that's a big thing. And it's hard, like you said previously, when you're a champion, it's hard to maintain that level for several years. And it's starting to show and crumble regarding the Chiefs. Now, you know, all their games are going to be tough. That's the big difference. They're going to be in tough games all the time. Now, as far as the Patriots, their defense is really stellar. It's going to keep them in many games, and many games to give the offense a chance to win. And that's all you can expect. And you know, you got Belichick as a coach, so he's not going to lose games. Belichick will not lose games. If anything, his cachet will allow him to win games more than not. So you got good defense. You got an excellent coaching staff. So the only thing you need to do is work on your offense. And Mac Jones, you know, he's serviceable. So I think the Patriots I think they have a better chance right now because no one expects them to do it. They're not under that pressure, whereas the Chiefs are truly under the pressure, and their defense their defense probably will prevent them from getting into the playoffs, Spitface.
Okay, we've heard it, but now we get to flip it. Defend as long as KC has Patrick Money Mahomes. They can flip the switch. They had a better chance. Now, you know, as I was saying, you know, that the KC is kind of reminding me of the old San Diego Chargers with Dan Fouts. Now, and, you know, having that, you know, a suspect deep. You know, they did have a couple of seasons where they actually had a good defense. But, you know, but not over the long haul. Not over the long haul. Yes, the defense is suspect. But the defense was suspect the last 4 years, and KC was able to overcome what was lacking with the defense. And Andy Reid has, you know, weapons all over the place to where he can make adjustments. And Andy Reid's adjustments are with, you know, like high-quality personnel. The Patriots have to really hope that Mac Jones just like really steps up, and he's been good, but he's still a rookie. He's still a rookie. I don't see them beating Buffalo. They can be beaten by Miami, and you know, other teams on their schedule. So it's not like we got two equal teams here. Now, the thing about the Patriots is that it's not this year, it's next year. And that's what they build. Yeah, they want to win and everything, but Bill Belichick is not going, I'm going to go to the Super Bowl this year. Now, he's not going, I'm not, you know, because no coach would do that. But he's going, look, I want to get the elements in place for the long game. But Patrick Mahomes and KC, they're built to win right now. And Andy Reid is going to put in those adjustments where, look, if we need to score more points, we're going to just have to do that to compensate for our defense. and we can. But watch for Andy Reid to start implementing some running game to take some of that pressure off the defense. And that's an easier move than with the Patriots, because Patriots got to do a whole team thing. First Lady, defend.
Well, Patrick Mahomes versus Mac Jones getting to the playoffs, I'll take my chances with the known entity, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, regardless of how bad KC defense is every week, the Chiefs still have one of the best offenses in the league, and they can get one of those wild card spots. I really don't think at this point that they can win the division, but, there's 2 wild card spots that they can easily get one of them. I don't expect the Chiefs to completely fall off the chart and have a losing record. Now, the Patriots, on the other hand, they can completely flop and miss the playoff because you still need to score points, and their offense lately has been very anemic at times. I mean, Mac Jones is a rookie and learning. He started the season like he was the second coming of Tom Brady, but lately he's been playing like a rookie. I mean, that's just the way things go when you have a rookie. It's going to be up and it's going to be down. Now, the Chiefs, they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Who are the playmakers for the Patriots? I mean, can you compare those 3 offensive players to the Patriots? No, you can't compare them because the Chiefs are a great team. They're just going through a couple of rough spots right now, and the Patriots, I mean, we expected them not to be great ever since Tom Brady left. I mean, we expected the Patriots to be where they are right now. They're not going to win the division because of the Buffalo Bills, but, I mean, the AFC is strong, so I see the Chiefs getting a playoff spot before I definitely see the Patriots. Definitely not. So that's the way the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to get their act together, Spitface. Definitely.
Flip the switch. Well, First Lady, on that note, please take us to break.
Stay tuned. Up next, the funnies and our favorite underwater friend on Flip It Part 2.
No extra tuna for you, Flipper.
Welcome back. You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for the funnies. Spitface, over to you.
All right. Okay, First Lady. Thief caught after trying to rob the same bank 2 days in a row. They say criminals always return to the scene of the crime, but a bumbling California bank robber didn't even wait a day before he came back to the branch he allegedly knocked over. Samuel Brown, 33, was busted after he tried to rob the same Fountain Valley Chase bank 2 days in a row. The San Diego resident took off with a large amount of cash after he slipped a stick-up note to a teller at the New Hope Street Chase at 3 p.m. Monday, Fountain Valley police said in a news release. But the dough apparently wasn't enough for Brown, who came back to the bank the next morning and tried to rob it again. Police arrived about 11:15 a.m. and arrested him without incident, according to the release. Brown had an outstanding arrest warrant and a rap sheet that included previous robbery convictions in San Diego. He is being held on a $170,000 bail in Orange County Jail and facing multiple robbery charges. Yeah, I guess it was so good. I guess they said he got off with a large amount of cash. He just said, "Whoa, maybe I could go back and dip again." Guys are down in the water splashing everywhere. It must be time for our favorite underwater friend. It's time for Flip It Part 2.
Yes, it is. Matthew Stafford moved on to the Rams and is playing some of his best ball. Should Matthew be in the running for MVP? Panel defend. He's in the top 3 for yardage ahead of Justin, Lamar, Kyler. He should be in the conversation. Spitface defend.
I might be a little bit biased. Because, I have seen Matthew Stafford, watching the Bears in Detroit, and over the years, he has been a good, solid quarterback on a terrible team. I think who he kind of reminded me of and how his career could have went was like Archie Manning. Archie Manning was a good quarterback on the New Orleans Saints when they were putting brown paper bags over their head, But he was good. The team was a diddly squat. And, the way that, the Rams are winning, and he's a big part of that. I think that might have been the best off-season trade was Matt Stafford. Well, at least for the Rams, it might not have been that great a trade for the Lions. But the attention is going to Justin and Lamar and Kyler, and you can't blame them. They're exciting. They're they do. But you know what? I'm looking and going, hey, the guy who's putting that ball there and making the play, and right now I'd say has a strong chance of making a Super Bowl appearance. I think Matt Stafford should be in the conversation. He's playing like an MVP player. He ain't getting the recognition, but he playing like an MVP player. That's what I'm saying, First Lady.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Matthew Stafford is what the Los Angeles Rams needed. I mean, they got rid of Jared Goff for a bag of chips, and they know they needed. I'm only kidding. They know they needed a quarterback, and like you said, Spitface, Matthew Stafford always put up great numbers. It's just like you said, he was on the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions were going nowhere, but at least Stafford kept the Detroit Lions in games. So now he's on a team that is good all around. The offense, he has more offensive weapons to go to, and the fact that they play good defense. So, yeah, I mean, right now we're talking about it's going to be between Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford, really, when it comes down to it, who's going to be the most valuable player. Now, of course, you got to look at Dak Prescott, too, because he has Cowboys playing well. Now, it's interesting, at one point, the wise guy had Matt Stafford chances of being the MVP as higher than Kyler Murray, but recently it's just been dropped a little bit. But Stafford is definitely going to be in the running to be the MVP. And, I mean, look what he's done. I mean, he's made it much easier for Sean McVay to run his offense, because, he can throw the deep ball. How do we forget all the times that I just forgot the darn quarterback name. I'm talking about the previous quarterback that they traded to Detroit.
Jared Goff?
Right, Jared Goff. How can we forget the number of times that Jared Goff missed those passes, those crucial passes to his wide receivers with the chance of them winning the Super Bowl? That's not going to happen with Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is very accurate with his passing, and he's just an all-around great quarterback, and he's succeeding. He's finally on a team that can use his ability, and it shows what type of quarterback he is. So definitely, Matt Stafford definitely deserves to be in those conversations as most valuable player. All right, Spitface, we're going to flip it. After playing with the Lions, he should be comeback player of the year, but not MVP. Spitface, defend.
He was not injured, but, playing with the Detroit Lions is like an injury, And, but, I'm looking at, definitely for the Rams, he's their MVP. He was the right man. But as far as MVP, I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think he's going to get it for one reason. And that one reason is the GOAT. The GOAT is going to get his team into the playoffs, and the GOAT will be the MVP. And the GOAT is Tom Brady. And because that Tampa franchise was treading water, they had talent, and they were just going nowhere with my man Jameis. In steps Tom Brady, and they looking like they getting it all together, and he's leading the charge. Tom Brady is the reason why Matt Stafford will not get the MVP, because Tom Brady is going to get him another one. That's what I'm saying, First Lady.
Well, that was good what you said, because of Detroit Lions. Yeah, it is similar to being injured and coming back. Most definitely.
All my friends in Detroit just said cancel. They just canceled my friendships.
But yeah, there's so many people that's in the category of MVP. I mean, right now, Kyler Murray is leading the way. I mean, he's really put up some numbers compared to Matt Stafford. And Matt Stafford has great numbers, but Kyler Lord have mercy. Kyler Murray is putting up those numbers.
Tyler can do everything, boy. I like Tyler Perry. He can do everything. Play football.
I don't know why Tyler Perry's on my mind, but anyway, I meant Kyler Murray is his name, and yeah, he should be the MVP. I mean, you're going to give it to Tom Brady. I don't think Tom Brady's going to win it this year. I do believe it's going to be Kyler. And we know that bad man is always lurking around the corner, too. And what about the Chargers? Justin Herbert. He has a chance also to be MVP. So I just think right now there's too much competition for MVP. And, I mean, Matt Stafford should possibly get the comeback player of the year because, you know, he has definitely upped his statistics. He just his whole quarterback persona is completely different now that he's playing with the Los Angeles Rams compared to what he was playing with the Detroit Lions.
Are you trying to say that Matthew Stafford is like a guy who got rid of was in a bad romance and got a new girlfriend?
Probably. I don't like to say.
Who turned out to be better?
I don't like to make those type of comparisons when it comes to women, but yeah, he got rid of one, and now he is right. He dumped that other girl and moved on to the next one, and this one is better for him. So yeah, that's how it is, and I just think Matthew Stafford will definitely be comeback. But MVP, it's just too much of a race for MVP, and you really got to shine. And right now, I think Kyler Murray is winning that battle. All right, Spitface, please take us to break.
All right, the MVP. It's going to be interesting. On the other side of the break, we have a performance from Sheva, Elliot on Shout Out Part 2. Please stay tuned.
You are still listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. It's time for Shout Out Part 2, the picks and the finale. The music flows from around the globe to get a shout-out from the crew. Spitface, over to you.
Well. We have a performance from Sheva Elliott. DJ, let's hear Land of the Free.
put a hand right over my heart for a place that don't protect me, that broke me before I could start. I heard it been said it's the land of the free. How come this freedom it don't include me? Whoa, whoa, I'm so tired, this land of hypocrisy. And you tell us to be faithful, to stand for my brothers in arms. Well, what about all of my sisters and the mothers you force into harm? I heard it been said it's the land of the free. How come this freedom it don't include me? Whoa, whoa, I'm so tired, this land of hypocrisy. Why the insistence on treating each other like strangers? Illusion of difference is one of our greatest dangers. What have we become? What have we become? Do we all not drink the water? Do we all not warm in the same sun? Ooh. Oh, it's so clear that you don't care. And you think that your paper protects you from the flames that are eating the air. I heard it been said it's the land of the free. How come this freedom it don't include me? Oh, you gotta lust for lying, and people we love are straight up dying. Ooh, we're floating out at sea, looking for that land of the free.
All right, First Lady. That was Land of the Free. And First Lady, I'm going to shout it out, but it seemed like this is movie soundtrack night week. You know, because that definitely sounded like some movie soundtrack. And not that, you know, I like a lot of movie soundtracks, but that's really the way it came off. And but I'm going to shout it out. It was well put together. You feeling it?
I'm sorry.
I said, are you feeling the song, First Lady?
Not really. I wasn't feeling the song, especially when it got me at the end. They almost played like the army, the drums. You know how the way the army, like the marching band drums.
Yeah, the musket was going off. I was ready for James Cagney to hop up with Yankee Doodle Dandy, but you know, but I go back, you know.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna give it a slight shout out, but it's really on the border of hitting the mute button. That's all I'm
borderline muty.
But because of the land of the free, how can we be against something about patriotism? So that's why I'm going to say the land of the free. But then when those drums came at the end, I said, well, darn, you're right, Spitface. It does sound like these movies, like it was a movie song, a soundtrack. So, but anyway, I'll shout it out. Reluctant.
Well, that is the end of shout out. If you liked what you heard from Sheva Elliot, check her out on Old Grumpy Radio and on our Facebook page, BP and Sports. Okay, that's on Facebook. It's BP like bras, panties, and sports. All right? Now, if you'd like to be heard or have any comments, please send your emails and tracks to content@oldgrumpyradio.com. First Lady, back to you.
All right. Who will win the NFL crown? It's time for the NFL picks. And, you know, the production crew, they work so hard to get so many of the back picks, you know, the results. So I said, all right, they took a break this week. So they'll be back next week with both of the results from this week and last week. So let's move along. Dolphins versus Jaguars. They playing in London. So this one is like, we gotta know what I know. I'm gonna pick the Jaguars. Spitface, who are you picking?
Oh, you're gonna go with the Jaguars. Okay, I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep rolling with Miami. You know, I'm gonna go with Tua.
You're going to go with Tua.
I'm going to go with Tua. That somehow or another Miami will scrape out a win. So I'm going to go with Tua.
All right. So now we have the Chiefs versus the Washington team that's playing in Washington. And they're going to shout out to the Washington team. I believe they're going to be retiring Sean Taylor's number there. Yeah, so shout out to them for that. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Spitface, who do you have?
The Chiefs need that. You know, this is actually tougher pick than it looks. Because even though Washington is, you know, they ain't particularly doing, you know, Washington is a strange team. And, you know, the Chiefs have been stumbling. But I think they're going to pick it up this week. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Chiefs.
Yeah. They better win.
Hey, if they don't win this week, we know it's something serious going wrong here.
Yeah. So you got the Chiefs. Oh, we'll have to get Dizzy Mac's picks later. All right. Texans versus the Colts.
2-1-4 teams.
All right, Spitface, who you going with?
You know, I tend to go with the home team, you know, when they're both bad, you know, because usually a bad home team. But you know what? The Colts have the guy who was in Philadelphia. And it's like he does not want to get labeled as one of those quarterbacks who just is injury prone. And but I'm going to go ahead and go with the Colts just because they're at home.
Okay, and I meant to tell everybody all these picks are either you win 100,000 points or you lose 100,000 points. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat that. That's what it is. All right, so you're going with the Colts, and I'm going to go with the Colts. The Colts need to win. They've been in a lot of. They only have one win, and that's against the Dolphins. So they definitely need to win that game. All right, Seahawks versus the Steelers. Well, you battle of two teams right now. The Steelers are on the rise, and the Seahawks are slipping. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Spitface, who do you have?
Big Ben.
Big Ben. Okay, Big Ben played well last week. All right, the Bills versus the Titans. All right, Spitface, who do you have?
Again, I like going with the home team. This is going to be a good game. The Bills and the Titans. This should be a good game. Now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the Titans. Just because I think it's going to be a tight game, and if the Titans can get that running game going, they could squeeze out a field goal victory. So I'm going to go with the Titans at home.
That's unusual. Okay. Not me. I'm the Bills for me. So not the Titans. They're definitely the Bills. All right. Let's go to some over and under. Justin Fields, Over under 2 interceptions. I'm going to go with under. Spitface.
I'm going to go with under.
Mm-hmm. All right. Arizona Cardinals, over under 4 touchdowns. Woo! Who they playing? I don't know who they playing this week. We didn't choose them. I don't know who the Cardinals playing, but that's a lot of touchdowns. So I'm going to go with, even though Kyler Murray has been balling with these touchdowns. I mean, every time I look, they're scoring touchdowns. But I'm going to go under.
So you're going to go under.
Yeah, until I find out who they're playing, I might
you're going to go under. All righty. Well,
they playing at Cleveland now. Cleveland got too much of a good defense. I don't anticipate them scoring 4 touchdowns on the Cleveland Browns, even though the Cleveland Browns only 3-2.
Yeah, but Cleveland could have a much better record because they was in all of those. But First Lady, I'm going with the over.
Really?
I'm going to go with the over.
You think they're going to score 5 touchdowns against the Cleveland Browns?
I'm going with the over.
Okay. All right. Dak Prescott, over under 3 touchdowns. Well, I'm going to go under because I think Bill Belichick, he's going to have a defensive scheme to stop Dak Prescott, who's been on a roll too. So I'm going under. Spitface?
I'm going under.
Okay. Zeke Elliott, under 100 rushing yards, over under 100. Man, the first week the first time he was on there, I won because he was under. Then the last 2 weeks, I think, I'm not sure if I picked him being over that other week, but I know last week I didn't pick him to be over 100 yards, and he definitely was over 100 yards. Now, they're paying the Patriots. I don't know. How's the Patriots' defense is pretty decent. So I'm going to go under.
I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm going under. All right, you going under. Okay, well, let's see. Is that it? Oh, no, we got some optional choices here. One upset game. What is our upset game going to be? Bears upset the Packers. Giants upset the Rams. Detroit upset Bengals. That's not really an upset, do you think? Well, I guess because Bengals has a good winning record. Patriots upset Cowboys. I'm going to pick the Patriots upsetting the Cowboys, and I'm taking 100,000 on it.
You know, the 2 games that have any chance would be the Bears upsetting the Packers because they can do that. You know, they can. That's within their division, and the defense is picking up. And you know, usually Aaron Rodgers wins, but he's been known to lose a game or 2 to the Bears early. But I had to go with you, First Lady. If there's going to be an upset, it's probably going to be the Patriots. So I'm going to go ahead and put 100 on the Patriots as well.
Okay, all right. That's what we talk. Okay, so we will get our results for 2 weeks next week. All right, Spitface, what is your top story to watch this week?
The continuing flow of released emails about the Washington situation.
Okay. All right, well, my top story this week is about will Kyrie Irving not get vaccinated and sit out the entire NBA season? And more importantly, will the Nets try to trade Kyrie? So it's all about Kyrie. That's what I'm talking about, because I don't think too many teams want Kyrie because he said he's going to retire if he gets traded. So and the sad part for the Nets, they don't have to pay him for the home game, but they got to pay him for the away game. So he's due to make $35 million a year. So they're going to pay him. He can sit out all the home games and still make $17 million a year. That's a shame.
First Lady, First Lady, the Nets were like, the odds on to be in the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that happening.
Oh, no. Well, they still got a good team with KD and James Harden, but, Yeah,
I mean, they'll be in the playoffs. They'll do all of that, but Kyrie is, I'll just say, interesting. And there's a point where, the whole thing is chemistry. And I think that they, like KD and Harden, they get along with Kyrie, on a personal level, one-on-one. But, the chemistry you need for a season and to win, it's just some way that he muddies that situation up. And and right now he is muddying.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's why I say it's the top story, because that's going to be interesting. He sits out the whole NBA season. All right. A shout out to our Veteran Women's Enterprise Center, our partners in empowering our women warriors fighting the business battle. Visit them at veteranwomensec.org. That's women's with WOMENS.org. We have upgraded our new website, bras-panties-and-sports.com, to service you better. This is Cheryl Smith, the First Lady of Sports Talk, and Spitface. You have been listening to Bras, Panties, and Sports. See you next week.